Hey all, had a little bit of a conundrum, something that's been on my mind the past couple months. So basically, it involves this baritone sax, and what a lot of guys, myself included, have been using one of these Beta 98 clip-on mic, AMT, Audio Technica, half dozen other different companies, but basically a clip-on mic that we take whenever we're doubling from alto, tenor, soprano, and then going to bari. We're using the same mic setup. Now, for the longest time, I was assuming that these, because they're small diaphragm size, were choking off the lower partials of the bari sax sound. That might not necessarily be the case. Some new data came to me. And when looking at this, the other thing I used to carry around when I knew I had a bari on me, or had to bring a bari out, was one of these. This is a PreSonus M7. Awesome condenser mic, general purpose. It's about as durable as a SM57, which is also another good bari mic. I've been a fan of that. But actually saw these guys, Dave Matthews Tribute Band, played with them before, and their one sax player, Gresh Lang, he came to Pittsburgh, and me and Mike were listening to everything at Thunderbird Music Hall, which has an awesome array system, great subs, and his AMT sounded great. Like he's way ahead of the ballpark when it comes to his effects processors, and they're set up very tastefully and done well. But when he was playing bari, I was noticing, like, yeah, that sparkles there, that mid-range sparkle, it sounded amazing. Every note crisp, clear, pristine, but there was no low end. That was driving me nuts, and I understood his dilemma. I told him, hey, just bring another mic. He's like, hey, I'm flying a lot, so that's not necessarily easy for me. You know, bring in another boom stand, another mic setup, then you bring in another XLR, having to check two lines instead of one. It becomes an issue, especially when you're doing a lot of traveling. So I want to deep dive on this. And I was at Meadows Casino myself with another awesome sound tech out there, Kevin. Great guy, great technician. And they have another awesome array system with both 15 and 18-inch subs, enough to make that whole room rumble apart if he wanted to. But what I also like about Kevin is he keeps his volume level very respectable. So everything's very full, but not overbearing. So we were talking about this at the end of the night. There was only one song I brought the bari out to play on, and he brought it up too with mine. He's like, just missed that low end sound. I wish I had another mic on you for that. But since he hasn't seen our band since he got this new board. And with digital boards, you need to reset everything, every channel. So I didn't want to add another hassle with bringing this out. So got by with the clip-on, and that was the verdict again. So this was just common knowledge, because when you're comparing a diaphragm that size versus a diaphragm this size, it seems somewhat obvious that this is going to pick up lower partials better than this can. Well, I was on Sax on the Web, and there's a sax player on there. He's also a sound technician, and he wanted me to take a look at the frequency response of the Beta 98, take a look at that more closely. I did, and realized that according to Shure's spec, it should have no problem picking up those lower partials. So there's something else going on here. I have an idea as to what it might be. But we're going to check it out scientifically. So what I'm going to do, I have everything hooked up to N-Track Studio 10, have my little PreSonus Audio Box i2. And what's cool about this, I just thought about this before I hit record, I can use both microphones simultaneously, get the exact same performance captured with both mics, and capture them independently on their own separate channel, then separate them later. And we're going to take a look at basically the parametric equalizer, see what it's telling me from my getup. Of course, I have, don't know if I could get the tripod exactly on it, but Battle Sax Galactica's down there. It's on my sax bass effect, which is what I use for baritone. It's just a clean effect. Just a tad of reverb, but basically just straight line. And we're going to try both. The test is going to be simple initially. What we're going to do is play concert C on baritone. It is A. We're going to start the octave up, octave down, and then the lowest. And that gives us a full range of what the bari sax is capable of. And we're just going to see what it looks like on the parametric with both mics. I haven't tested this out myself yet to see what the results are, so I'm kind of curious to see what happens. So for anyone wondering what this is an Armstrong 3070A. A buddy of mine sold this to me a few years back. It's actually a Koff Superba 2 stencil. Plays every bit as good as the Koff versions do, and just real big, low growl, lower register, a very whispery, breezy higher register. It's very clear, very good tone all throughout. I just love this thing, fell in love with it, so happy to have it. And without further ado, and just for argument's sake on this, I did up the gain on the Shure. So in order to get a middle C, well, an octave A on baritone to the same level, these were the settings I ended up with. And channel 1 to the left is the M7, channel 2 is the Beta 98. You can see it's cranking pretty heavy. Okay, so just looking at this right here, that is the M7. Here's the Shure. And that's kind of curious because I checked both of these mics. The gain staging was most definitely the same going in, at least talking into the mic. Checking both together to make sure my meter was the same, just speaking into both of them. And these are the results. So first thing we're going to do, split these tracks down. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is split this stereo track into two monos. I have this dead track here. I don't know why I kept that. Fixed. And here we are. Once again, that is the M7, and here's the Shure. And let's take a look at what's going on with this. So, soloing the track. Maybe about the 40 hertz range, somewhere around there. That's what the M7. And let's check out that Shure. Getting kind of pinched off. So that's what it's doing. It's pinching it off slightly. I have a theory. Okay, so what I did, I hooked my pedal board up, the Zoom pedal in particular, up to the Zoom app using the USB function. We're going to take a look at sax bass again. Have that highlighted. We're going to Editor. And we have an anti-feedback right there. That's really the only thing. So, we're going to try something else. Because there is nothing in here that would actually, let's take a look at the frequencies are set to auto. Level 100. Everything is good there. So, yeah, as far as I can see it, there's nothing on my effects patch that would justify that discrepancy. Okay, so there's plan B. I'm going to try the bass EQ. Okay. Okay, so we got the bass EQ in, and basically that. .50 hertz range. Now, one thing I've always hated, trying to turn knobs with the mouse. We're going to try, I don't want to add anything extreme, so we're going to try 3.5 there and 2.5 in the 120 range. Everything else comes through on that mic pretty well. We just need to give it a little extra oomph in those lower frequencies. See, what I was thinking, I must have been looking at the wrong patch. I was thinking that there might have been a compressor or some type of limiter or equalizer on it that was choking off those frequencies, but that's not the case in the patch I was on. It just isn't coming through. So we're going to give this a shot. And everything else I'm going to leave as is. I don't know about you guys, but with Bari, I've always felt less is more, adding, well, maybe a little bit of a hall reverb effect. I'm talking just a small amount. Let's do a room reverb. And the mix, go very little, 30% of the overall mix. So let me rename this. It's called Bari Sax. So we'll save that in the pedal. Yes, so we are good to go there. Let's try our test again, and all I did was bumped up that 50 and 100, 50 hertz band and the 120 hertz band, just to get that low end lifted a little bit more. We'll see how that works. That never gets old. And we could already see same volume discrepancy as before. Separate the track. So honestly, that did not do it. Oh, there we are. Split stereo track. What I'm going to keep you. Yeah, and same thing as before. So, listening to it. Christmas tree. What is the volume meter on that? I need to look. It's going to 3 below unity. Conversely, yeah, we're at negative 12 dB. So a good signal, but not what the other one is doing. So the initial thought that I had was there's a compressor, there's an equalizer, there's something on the RFX patches that we're using to cause this issue. Looking at this now, particularly the volume discrepancy, now it's kind of making sense to me. How we set the gain on the pack itself, this is basically designed to pick up everything on alto, tenor, alto, tenor, soprano pretty evenly. And the way I set up my gain staging is to make sure I get that nice crisp saxophone sound without being so high that it's picking up everything around me, where you have a lot of bleed through from, you know, anything from cymbals to bass guitar, just things you don't want to bleed through and then muddy up the channel. So this works out great up until you get to bari sax. And I thought I could offset that with the equalizer. No, you really can't. So I didn't run this straight mic. That might help. I just don't think the pickup pattern is good enough to pick up those lower frequencies, even if I were to crank the gain up a little bit more, which would cause a problem hopping back and forth in between, 3 saxophones for one. But for 2, I still think my initial theory was right. Just having the bigger diaphragm just pays off in this end. And with these 2, we do have a kill switch box that I brought around to prevent bleed through. So whenever I was playing, you stomp on the box, opens up the XLR channel, goes into the board. When I take my foot off of it, it kills it dead. It acts pretty much as a controlled gate. That was our solution with this microphone. And yeah, it did pick up bleed through issues, but you did get that low end rumble. So unfortunately, I don't think you could reproduce that with the clip-on. However, I was up at Volkwine's Music today, always chatting with Mike Hollis, who will always take time out of his day to talk shop, which is great. We had a whole bunch of vintage saxophones to go through. Brought my mouthpiece in. I'm trying a whole bunch of stuff. A vibrato sax. He got one for he bought it off of a guy in Texas for $200. And those things have to be totally assembled. And yeah, he said he would hope not to build one of those again. Took him about 6 hours, and that's a dude that rebuilds saxophones for a living. But interesting horn in of itself. It did play like a saxophone. Ergonomics are definitely out there. It's very cool in any event. But yeah, it plays like a saxophone, played like a good saxophone. So if I was given a couple hours with that, I'd have fun with it. Now, how long it holds up over the long run, I don't know. But back to the bari. We're going to try the dual mic again, and I'm going to play with the backing track, and we're just going to keep switching. I just have a blues and concert C that I'll play on top of, and we'll keep switching back and forth between the mics. Let me know what you guys think of the overall sound. I'm not saying the Shure does a bad job, an AMT would do a bad job. Any clip-on mic will. I mean, they're designated for that, but I just don't think they have enough oomph. Yeah, Shure is saying that, that thing's going down to 40 hertz. It can pick up 40 hertz. It can pick up 40 hertz. My argument is it doesn't pick up 40 hertz well. That's just my opinion. If given an opportunity and I have extra time, I'll always be using that for baritone sax on the gig. Like I said, if bleed through is an issue, there's any number of little guitar pedals that are basically kill switches. You press on them to activate the XLR and cut everything in. Depressing that acts as its own mute switch. That's been my solution. It works pretty well. But yeah, let's get to playing.